good evening. Today is on a Monday. You're most welcome. I'm so grateful for each and everyone who is joining us this view. I was just setting so that I can see my viewers well on the Facebook, and I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. I believe that you had a very fantastic weekend that has just passed, and now it's on a Monday. For those who go to work, they go to the work. For those all of us who have been pastors and we call ourselves the men on the cloth, today we take a time to rest, but myself I don't rest because I have a lot of work to do. I have to do to prepare for this series. I have also to prepare for what we normally call the blog page. I have a blog page where when I'm not talking, I'm just posting for the people who like to read and to understand many things. It has been in my ambition and my desire since I was in high school to be writing, and therefore I've seen a lot of the growth in it. I've seen it growing from 20, 40. Nowadays, the people that comes to read my articles, there are over 100 people per every article on a blog page, and therefore I can see a great growth in it, and therefore I'm so delighted to see. And therefore other times I'm here preparing such a kind of a series so that I can come to teach the people of God and to educate them, to motivate them, those who are in the business, those who are in career, those who are in the professional. I would like to come and speak to you. And therefore, as I invite you and as I welcome you, today we are starting a new series in our Kingdom Business Insight. We are starting a very few for this week. And this week I want to look at what we call the financial depression. Financial depression. And just for a minute, allow me. I want to share to the people on the TikTok. The people on TikTok, I can see they are not getting. Let me invite them so that they can join us. Let me invite many people at the TikTok. Just a minute, I can see they are just floating without getting in. They are not aware that I've already started. Let me invite them. That's good. And then I invite the guests so that they can come, and then from there we can be able to start. And by looking at our topic, love today. So I wish to see the comment on the Facebook. Those who are watching us on the Facebook, you can just make a comment there, and therefore I can see we have several people who are joining. As long as you join on the TikTok, please make sure that you mute so that we can be able to listen to each and every one of us. So as I was telling you this morning, as I was starting, that today we are looking at what we are calling financial depression. Financial depression. What is financial depression? What is financial depression that I'm talking about? The financial depression that I'm talking about, it's we want to look at how is a prolonged state of a personal economy hardship. It is a prolonged personal economy hardship that the people go through. Good. So it is a prolonged personal economy hardship that the people go through. And whenever the people they are having this kind of the economic hardship, we normally call it a financial depression. So a financial depression, it's not only about the mental depression that the people go through, but it's also characteristic, it has another characteristic of the financial. When you don't have anything in your life that is touching in your hands, everything is landing on your hands and just flying away from your hands. That one is when you say that I am going through the financial depression. And one of the characteristics that you'll find that characterizes the financial depression, it is that persistence debt. You have the cycle of the debts that they are occurring in your life, and you are not able to manage to pay them. So these are debts that they are always reoccurring in your life. In other words, you are taking this debt to pay this debt. And in such a situation is very, very dangerous, because it is speaking to you that you are going to what we are calling a financial depression. Let me give you a very good example of the financial depression that you can be able to recognize that, or to say that I'm going through the financial depression. There is what we call the 4 M's. And the 4 M's is, these are the main pillars of the human. And whenever they are attacked by any means, it speaks loudly to you. You don't need a prophet of God or any prophet to speak to you that you are going through a distress in life. It is when you see these 4 M's have been touched in your life. The first M, it is what we call the money. When your money has been attacked and there is nothing tangible that you can prove you're working, then you are working but you cannot see the money, then that one tells you that you are having a financial depression in your own way and in your own world. And you need a recovery strategy as quick as possible. The second M, it is the M of the meal. It is the M for the meal. It is when you realize that eating in your family is a challenge. Whenever you realize that there is some elements that you are eating, for example, if you are here in Africa and especially in Kenya, you are just eating only ugali and there is no other alternative of that food. That becomes your staple food and your food forever. If it's in Uganda, you are just eating the bananas. That's the only thing that you are affording to eat. So it tells you now you need to take care of your finances, financial situation, or your financial status, because you are undergoing a financial depression. The third M that will tell you that there is a financial depression that has occurred in you, it is when you realize that it is the M for the I can't get the exact word for the shelter, but it's when you are not able to meet the bills to pay your rent. It is the 4th M, and it's when you realize that the debt is a charge to pay. I'm trying to get that M, what we normally call it, but I'll give you that M. But the 4th M, it is the M of the marriage. When you are in a marriage, but you see that in the marriage, there is a certain crisis which is occurring in that marriage simply because, or basically because of the finances, and there is some misunderstanding, and there is now the breakup, there is a separation, there is the abuse in the marriage, and as a result of this, it is simply because there is a financial strain that family is going through. And therefore, when you realize there is such a kinds of the elements or characteristics that they are happening in regard because of the finances that you are used to live with and you are operating and is no longer there, it is the time that you realize, wait a minute, I'm in a financial depression. It is at that particular moment you start finding the people speaking to themselves. So whenever you recognize such a kinds of those 4 patterns I've described to you, it is the time to understand, let me check what is the cause of this. What is the cause of these patterns that they are happening to me and they are moving together with me? What are these patterns? What are they speaking? What are they driving me to? And what is the strategy that should I use so that I can change from these kinds of the pattern? Because if I continue with these kinds of the patterns, then the depression that I'm suffering, it is going to be persistence. And therefore, it might bring me to the loss of all my income. It might bring me to the loss of the income in the business. It might bring me to the loss of everything that I have. Everything that is tangible. Today we are just looking the introduction, but as we continue, before the week's end, I will show you the consequences of the financial depression, the consequences that they comes together with the financial depression. Just a minute, I keep on infecting the people. So, thank you. So let's continue. As we continue looking more about the financial depression. So what are these, some of the, how can we define what is this financial depression, and what are the characteristics of it, as the way I've described the patterns of it and how it falls up. One of the things that I'm going to say that defines or becomes the characteristic of the financial depression, it is overwhelmed debt without sustainable repayment plan. So you get to the financial depression simply because, and before I continue, I want to define something about the financial depression. And I define what is the depression. Depression is when you have anxiety, and this anxiety over something, then you are not able to meet that motive that you had, or anxiety of that thing, it does not become the reality in you. And when it does not become the reality in you, then you enter into that kind of depression in your life. And whenever you have a depression, it is a disorder of the mental thinking. It is a disorder of a mental thinking, mental patterns of arranging your brains in order to think in a thoughtful way that can produce a tangible result. And therefore, whenever you have a financial depression, it is a financial disorder that you are going through. It is a financial disorder that has occurred in you simply because you had an anxiety of a certain project, you had anxiety of accomplishing a certain thing that you wanted to do, but you never managed to have it or to do that thing, and therefore now you are going through that financial disorder that is happening in your life. And one of the elements that can tell you are having a financial disorder patterns that they are taking place on you, it is when you have overwhelming debt without sustainable repayment plans. In other words, you have taken some loans, but these loans, you don't have a system, you don't have a plan that can be able to pay them in a sustainable way, that you are able to pay the debt. But as you are paying the debt, your normal life, the ordinary life, your standard of the living is still maintained and is sustainable. It is not affected in any way. And therefore, any person that is going through a financial depression, he is always not having a sustainable repayment of their debts. Number two, so you hear those people, they always have, they have an excuse, and they are always having an excuse with their debts. And therefore, the second things now, it's what happened. Loss of instability of income streams. Now, the second kind of the financial depression, it is when you have that instability of the income. streams. In other words, there is so many streams of the making the wealth, or the streams of the incomes. And one might be you are doing the business. Another one might be you are employed. Another one you might be doing the tender business. Another one you might be in a ministry. And now because you are having a financial depression, you are having a destabilized kind of the finances, you are not able to concentrate and to focus on what you are supposed to be doing, and therefore your focus is drifted away because you are learning up and down to deal with the instability and the fear of the uncertainty that might happen to you. And therefore, in such a situation, it is the high time to realize that I'm going through financial depression with the characteristic of the loss or instability of income. You have that loss or instability in your life, and therefore, any moment you feel you are not, and the best way to look to understand that you are going through an instability in your life, it is when you don't have the sufficient sleep in your life. At all the times you feel, there is that kind of the fear that it is always occurring to you, and anytime and whenever it comes to your feeling, I don't have the right one to say, but it's that you are just feeling as like someone has surprised you at once, and therefore that kind of instability. Even you are not settled in the family, wherever you are, even in the house, even in the working place, even in the church, even in a hotel, even when you are meeting with the people, you are feeling you are not settled. And because you have that instability within yourself, and it's the characteristics that is telling you are going through the financial depression. You are going through the financial depression. The third one, it is when we call it the persistent inability to meet the basic financial obligations. It is when you have the persistence inability to meet the basic financial obligations. So anytime you are going through the financial depression, as the way I said as I start, there is the 4 M's, and you are not able to meet with them, which they are the basic obligations of every human being. And one of it we said, it is about the meal. You are not able to meet with the need about it. You are not able to feed yourself or to feed your family in the right way. The family is suffering in terms of a meal. The second one is in the terms of the paying the rent. That paying of the rent. Some of you might be having your own rental and your own house where you live. But also remember, in the same house, you might not be able to be taking care of it. You might be having your own house, but you are not able to maintain, to pay the electricity, to maintain the water bills, to maintain all those kinds of things. You are not able to maintain them. And that tells me you are not able to meet with the basic financial obligations. The other one, it is when you have said about the shelter, and the third one is when you have the clothing, the basic clothes. You are not able to clothe yourself with the right kinds of the clothes. It is a sign or a characteristic that you are going through a financial depression. Many people today in Kenya, they are going through the financial depression. I saw an article today that so many people are fearing today because they are not able to pay the loans, and now they are fearing the auctioneers, and therefore it was being said they are not picking any new number. They are not picking any new number because they are fearing the auctioneers or the debt collectors. They are the ones that they are calling them. And therefore, this is a sign that in our nation, the people are going through the financial, and the people are suffering in it. And the people are suffering in this financial depression that they are going through. And therefore, it is very, very important to have such a kind of a program that I can come forth and I can teach you how can we recover from the financial depression. In your business, you might be struggling and you are feeling the business is stuck and is not able to move on. The business is down. How should I be able to handle the financial depression in my business? I think it's on a Wednesday I'll be looking about the business depression. That's why when the business is in the depression, what does it mean that the business is in depression? Today we were looking at the personal level. The depression in the personal level, the financial depressions at the personal level. And the last one is when we have said it is when you have emotional stress and anxiety to finances. This is when the people, most of the people, because of the emotional, the financial depression, they enter to the scams. Because they are trying to think on any way that they can multiply the money that they have and the income that they have. That's how they think about it. And whenever you are thinking in that line, it becomes very dangerous for you when you enter into the anxiety of the finances and you are now having the stress and you are thinking on how to multiply the money that you have so that it can meet with your needs. Because the most important thing that will happen is you find the scammers and the fraudsters, and they'll be having a very easy way to convince you. You'll become an easy spot for them. And therefore, whatever the little that you have, they will be able to take it away from you. And then later is when you wake up from your sleep and you wonder, how did they happen? Yesterday I was watching a certain investigation in a certain media, and they were investing on how the people have been scammed money by a certain kind of the TV channel. And you listen to the stories of the people who have been scammed. It is very amazing for them, because they were trying to think of